So you finished, like you got better, and then is it the book immediately that you want to write?
Kind of. So the book actually came the idea came before when I was working at the school that we'd build in. I'd be sitting in the car park talking to a former like basketball mentor, Mike Nichols. I created the book with him, How to Lead with Purpose. He is one of my former basketball coaches from the UK, and he was once at one point the best defensive guard in the UK. He's still a very good friend. We talk all the time, even still to this day. And we made a joke because he's already a best-selling author before that on NLP, neuro-linguistics training and all that programming. And I made a joke saying, God, we could write a book about this. Because by this point, it's not just the bullying, it's also this new toxic workplace. And I'm dreading the minutes, I'm counting the minutes, I'm in the car park. Sometimes I do some breath work before going in to prepare. Nobody even knows this. No. I've not even said this to anybody. Driving home, I've got 12 minutes to get to work. I've got 5 minutes, I'm at the junction. It's stage by stage every single day. Right, that's one lesson done. I've only got 4 more to go. Lunch, where do I have lunch today? Do I want to be around? It's constant. It's a small place because we built a school. There's only 30 kids, right? And I'm not here to defame the school because I love the school. I love the people who created it. I wish the school well. It's just that for me, it was there was a person that we just didn't again vibe with, and they're in a position to make it not great for me. I'm not in a position to make it bad for them. Yes, I suppose I could, but I'm not that type of person. So you questioned the book. Sorry, I kind of went off. Made a joke saying, could you write a book about this? And he went, well, why don't we? And I'm not a writer. So people always used to say, write your journey down. And I was like, nah, that's girly. No offense to the girl. That's girly. I'm not writing. I'm an emotional dude. I've always vented to people. But venting to people every day releases the undesired emotions. But when you go to sleep, the next day starts again. You need to release those undesired emotions. You need to vent again. It's great to vent. Keep venting. But it doesn't change anything. You have to make a change. You have to do something. You need a catalyst to change your purpose. When you have a purpose, you can start to learn to take the memory out of the emotion out of the memory. So memory and emotion with the trauma memory and emotion can be traumatic. But if you can learn to take the emotion out of the memory out of the emotion out of the memory, it becomes wisdom, right? So over time, I wrote my journey down. So chapter 1 was a collection of stories of toxic workplace environments from around the world. I think we got something like 25 stories. Chapter 1. Chapter 2, personal development intertwined for those scenarios. And then chapter 3 was the human side of leadership. So I thought, I want to help leaders become good leaders because I want them to understand the impact on the people's lives that they lead, hence connecting to my journey, yes. Right? So that was the book. Therapeutic, cathartic. I was like, that was so powerful. How powerful it is for people to share stories. I think you can see the link now to the podcast.
Definitely.
So I thought, how can I have these conversations if I don't know the root causes of mental health decline? Start studying the brain, start studying human physiology. I love the brain. I thought I started with sleep. Then I'd come across words about the brain that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So I put the Pause on Sleep book on pause, go and get a brain book to learn about the brain. So I can go back and understand that at a deeper level. And then you can see the puzzles
coming together.
I need to learn about cells now. I need to learn about hormones. I'm not an expert, but I'm learning parts. And then I start to interview these experts. I'm like, fuck, this is brilliant. Because I can have all these conversations, these deep conversations with them. Now, I'm not on the podcast to advise people, but I can have intelligent conversations around that area, back and forth. And if they want to advise, because they're in a position to potentially advise, some of the doctors, some are neuroscientists, some are professors, some of them are Alzheimer's experts, some of them are cancer experts. And I can go back and forth with them.
And learn from it along the way.
Absolutely. And I'm learning so much, not only from the textbooks, from these experts in front of me. But it didn't start off like that. I sat on the domain name, leadinourownway.com for a while. I got the Instagram pages. My friend who got sent the mic to me, I met her on a plane to New York when I went to watch Michael Jordan. This beautiful connection from Michael Jordan and my basketball world. I met this woman called Erin. She's beautiful. Everyone used to say, you're the type of guy that meets someone on a plane and gets invited to their wedding. Me and my partner would look at each other and go, that's happened. So Erin was freaking out because she was supposed to fly on 9/11.
Wow.
Back to New York from England. So obviously she didn't because of 9/11. She flew 3 months later because she was so quite nervous, bless her. I hope she doesn't mind me saying it if she listens to this. She's in Portland now, but she used to be in New York. I used to go to New York a lot because from Manchester, it's only a 6-hour flight. Go to New York all the time, been like 20 times, and we catch up. Met her and her husband, Sam. Wasn't a husband at the time. Got invited to their wedding in Spain, 2011.
Wow.
We've been friends ever since. And ever since 2001, sorry. And she's in broadcasting. So she helped me with the name, the acronym LOOW. And she used to text me saying LOOW. I was like, Erin, what's LOOW? She went, that's the acronym to your podcast. I'm like, oh God, yeah. So that's why that's on. So there's all deep stories behind all of the logo and why that exists. So I sat on the domain name for seriously like a year and a half. I was sat on my couch and I got a summary from GoDaddy, you know, the website thing,
I do.
saying update your summary and do you want to check it out? Because I bought it a year ago. It was coming to the annual. I was like, fuck, why don't I build it? That night I went and built the website.
Wow.
It looks how it is now. Whether it's great or not, it looks pretty much the same as it did when I started out. I never built a website. Everything I've learned, I'm not creative. And I do believe if I hadn't started to change my way in putting the right things into my body, focusing on my sleep, my movement, my exercise, my purpose, I wouldn't have been creative. The old Andy wouldn't have been creative. It just shows you what you can do. You can make wonders happen if you change your mental health state by putting the right nutrients into the body, having purpose, connection, contribution to the world. All these things can make wonders. And so, yeah, I sat on it for a year and it was time. And I interviewed my first friend, an arm wrestler, commentator. And he was running around Australia for cancer. He lost people to cancer. His wife, he proposed to his wife at the end of the run. Channel 7 was there. I was there. And then the dates fell and online and his wife got cancer. Fortunately didn't die, nearly died, minutes away from dying.
My goodness.
Told them never have kids. They've got 2. He left his job and became the #1 arm wrestling commentator in the world. What better place to start?
What better place to start?
I interviewed a famous drummer that I knew as a kid. Didn't know he was a famous drummer until I was 20. He was just my friend. He was my basketball coach. Found out I was a drummer. He was my next. I filmed him first, but he was my #2 episode. And that he's on the front of my car. Jake is as well, Don, and it's just incredible. These people I've met because I'm talkative, because I can connect, traveled the world. I've met incredible people with incredible lives, and then that's when these other people started to come in to the podcast.
You must be proud of what you've been able to build.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I'm proud of it.
Because people that listen to will learn, just as much as you do when you're speaking.
If nobody else listens... I do.
Yeah.
And I learn.
And you learn.
And I'm okay with that. If I can, the philosophy was if I could help one person, brilliant. But I know it's helping more than one person. So my mindset now is I want to help 1 million people. In order to do that, yes, I do need to do it full time. I do spend full time hours on it, but I still, it doesn't bring me an income. So I think if you use money as your target, that's when you burn out. That's when your burnout happens again, right? Chronic stress, because you're not receiving it when you want it. And then you'll burn out, and then the need isn't met. You can't help people, you quit. So money's not a thing for me. It is a thing in terms of living and achieving the goal. But I think if I just stay on line with my purpose, all that will happen.
Yeah.
When it's meant to happen, it will happen. I believe that. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find the innate kind of body is very fascinating and how the brain works. And obviously you've spent a lot of time researching and finding out all these different facts. What would you say is the most fascinating thing about how the brain works or how humans connect?
We can trick it and it can trick us.
Yeah.
It's a powerful machine.
Yeah.
We can trick the brain. I mean, look at VR sets. If you put a VR set on and go on YouTube and watch funny clips, you can see people jumping into walls, throwing things at the TV. Would you do that if you didn't have the VR set on? No. You'd be wasting a lot of money.
Yeah.
Your parents would freak out. Or you'd be devastated that you've lost your 50-inch, 60, 70-inch TV. Therefore, the brain can be tricked. You know, one of my guests said to me, before you wake up in the morning, before you consciously come awake, it looks crazy, but smile at yourself. If you heard my speech at the event that you came to, that's what I actually said, and I shared that piece of gem with the world, and I was like, just smile before you do anything. That 0.1% time of your day costs nothing. That smile, the brain knows you're smiling, it doesn't know what you're smiling at, so smile.
Yeah.
You could change the trajectory of your day. If you're changing the trajectory of your day, you could change the trajectory of your week, which means that it could change your month and your year and your life. And I think that's so that for me, tricking the brain or being tricked, and then you've got to understand obviously the layers behind it then with memory and focus and retention and clarity. And I try and teach the kids that because kids don't learn about the brain. For me, the brain is the source of everything. There's actually a book called The Source. It's around the brain, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Dr. Tara Swart.
And then you've created this podcast. Obviously, you said the first 2 episodes were people that you knew and they had amazing stories. From the, how many episodes have you done right now?
I filmed 102, but I've published 89.
Okay. And obviously, you're continuing on. What would be, out of all those, the most fascinating story?
They're all fascinating.
Yeah.
I get that question a lot. They're all fascinating in their own different way. I cannot pin one guest.
Yeah. So you've covered cancer specialists. What else? Who else?
I've interviewed an Alzheimer expert.
Yeah.
I've interviewed cancer experts, people who have suffered with cancer personally, who've learnt their own journey of what they went through. But for example, I interviewed Bridget Hancock, the author of a book called Live Like a Lobster. It's all about avoiding disease and confronting cancer at a cellular level. Athletes and their own journey, why they became athletes. There's always a story, right? I do believe everyone's got a journey. Neuroscientists, spine experts, doctors, teachers who have been through something, why they got into teaching, domestic violence, personal development, authors, mental health advocates, thought leaders, a lot of business leaders too come my way. I've got a few coming up. I'm interviewing Principal of the Year next week, Stephen Trotter, so it'll be quite nice, of Australia. Just anyone. The spectrum goes from left to right completely. It's amazing.
Yeah, and the whole entire, I guess it fits with every audience. You know, the wider the variety, the wider.
It does, but that doesn't help you with the algorithm.
No.
Because my niche might be mental health, but where does mental health stop and start? It's so big. And I think that's probably why, look, the podcast, as you mentioned before, top 10%, but I think if I was to niche it down even further and tighter, maybe it would be further, maybe bigger than it is.
What has podcasting taught you about the people and how, I guess, they respond to situations? And because I'm assuming the majority of the people you've interviewed been through struggles mentally.
90% of them have. Yep. There's a few just purely good stories in there. Well, they're all good stories, aren't they? Right? They're all good journeys. There's a few who have had just a pure, beautiful life, but it's about how they lead their own way. And I always say, we all see the same thing. Us in here in the studio and yourself, we're all seeing the same thing right now, but we're all perceiving it and looking at it differently, which means we're all leading our own way. You're leading your own way. We could live the same life, but you'd still lead in your own way. And I think that's something I've learned, is that we all respond differently to things. I think it's understanding our bodies at a much deeper level. If we can understand our gene expression, we can all understand then what we might be more predisposed to. You and I could experience the same car accident, but you could walk out going, "Oh, that was a bad day." I could walk out going into deep depression, and that's based on my physiology and what genes are switched on and switched off. So I think if we learn about the brain and our bodies at a much deeper level, I think then we can prepare ourselves better, but we're not there. We're just not there yet. And I think that will become clearer. I'm learning that from the experts though, right? I'm not the expert on that. I'm learning that from the experts in the books. But I think if we prepare ourselves mentally better and physically, things will inevitably go wrong. You guys will experience something negative in your life, whether it's breakup, financial, death. You're going to experience something. And it's not that I want you to just go, move on. It's not about that. It's about just preparing for these. But unfortunately, I think what I have learned is choices all comes about. Every guest, it's all about choices. We're making choices. We have the choice to get up and be positive, whether we're going something bad, or we can choose to sit in it. I chose to sit in that victim mentality for a long time, but when I almost died, it wasn't a choice anymore. Well, it was, but the other way. Going back to it, I think choices, and we all react differently based on the expression of how we live our lives.
And when you interview people who've had these different struggles, how do you, I guess, create a space that's open and makes them, like, allows them to feel comfortable with sharing, because it's
Being
certainly
vulnerable.
very personal.
Absolutely, being vulnerable myself.
Yeah.
If you and a pre-chat, I always do a pre-chat with people, and the reason why I do a pre-chat is because I want people to feel that it's just two mates having a conversation. That's the connection, isn't it? And I love that. But I interview people all around the world, though, so I can't do this. This for me is connection as well. But I have a studio. I don't have the funds to go and hire a place. You know, these places are expensive, and you know, it's incredible what these guys do. If I could do that, I really, really would. But some of the people I interview, some of the experts, I don't have the ability to fly them in, so I have to interview them online. But yeah,
and
but creating that safe space is really important.